Today I would like to have a look at wide body kits. There's no doubt that wide body kits can look great, but how do they actually change the car's characteristics and why are they used in motorsport? First of all, we have to take a look at tire behavior. This diagram shows the side force a tire can offer for a certain vertical force. In the early stages, the relationship is a straight line, which basically means if I double the vertical force, I will get double the side force. But if I get closer to the limit of the tire, it's not a straight line anymore, and the curve is getting flatter. For driving at the limit, that means that if I double this vertical force on a tire, I won't get double the side force anymore. In other words, to be faster in corners, I have to reduce the load transfer from one side to the other of the car. How does this load transfer work on a car that is cornering? This is a simplified car. We can see the weight of the car at the center of gravity, short COG. We have h, the COG height, the outside rear load FA, and the track width T. Now we let the system rotate around the inner wheel contact point. All moments have to equal to 0, so we get the following equation. Outside wheel force Fa times track width T minus the weight force Fg times half the track width minus weight force times acceleration in g times the COG height equal 0. We can tidy this equation a bit and we get the ratio between the outside wheel and the total weight. You can see that we add 1/2 for the outside wheel. So the weight transfer between both sides is the result of this formula. Acceleration times COG height divided by track width. This tells us that the higher the lateral acceleration is, the more weight transfer we will get. Also, the higher the center of gravity sits, the more weight transfer we will get. But the wider our track width is, the less weight transfer we will get. If we now go back to our tire diagram, we can work out that the possible maximum side force we can get from one axle is higher if I have less load transfer. So if I want to increase mechanical grip on one axle, I could lower the center of gravity, but this is usually pretty limited and hard to do. Or I increase the track width, something that is pretty easy to achieve with spacers and a different rim offset. In other words, if I want to stabilize an axle, I make it wider. Let's look at some car examples. If I have a car that tends to oversteer because it has a lot of weight at the back and rear-wheel drive, I stabilize the rear axle by making it wider. If I have a car with front-wheel drive that tends to understeer and I want the rear axle to help me turn in the corner, I stabilize the front axle by making it wider. Or if I have a drift car that needs a reliable front axle and a destabilized rear, I make the front axle wider and the rear narrower. So it's all about mechanical grip, and that's what you typically need for slow to medium speed corners. But what happens with a wide body car from an aero point of view? First of all, of course, the car gets wider and hence the frontal area is larger. Additionally, the drag coefficient increases because the airflow has to deal with more directional changes, which increases resistance. And real arches tend to catch air like a parachute, so they need proper outlets to avoid that. But these outlets are pretty often restricted in size due to the rulebook. In summary, we can say that it's a good idea to increase track width to generate more mechanical grip, but you increase drag, which hurts you at higher speeds. So it's always a trade-off, and of course they can look great. Let me know how you like wide body kits in the comments below.